where he in advancing the commercialization of space, innovation ecosystems, and the market uptake of EU space programs across Europe and beyond. He is responsible for initiating and managing high-impact entrepreneurship, innovation, and technology transfer programs in collaboration with the European Commission, the European Space Agency, EUSPA, DLR, and major industry partners. Thorsten brings deep expertise in strategy, policy advisory, stakeholder management, and global community building, driving large-scale initiatives that have created thousands of jobs, empowered hundreds of startups, and shared Europe's space innovation landscape. So the floor is yours, and we are looking forward to your presentation.
Eleni, first of all, thank you so much, and many thanks for the invitation here to Cyprus. It's my first time, and what I've seen is a lovely island, and I will definitely come back. Yeah, I'm here today at the ERATOSTHENES Center of Excellence, and I will also participate in the launch event of the Space Big, and this is the reason why I was invited to present the new space economy in Germany, the success stories, the emerging trends, and also how we try to internationalize this economy also in Europe and beyond Europe. And I want to give some insights and motivations, also inspirations also for the new Space Big here in Cyprus. Okay, I have to click this button here. Okay, wonderful. Okay, yeah. Yeah, as Eleni already explained, I have 20 years of experiences in the space commercialization. I started my professional career at the German Aerospace Center at DLR in Oberpfaffenhofen. I was responsible for technology transfer. This was one of the first programs to commercialize space technologies, space research results to the industries. And at this time, this was at the end of the 19th, more and more startup teams were created at DLR. And this was the reason why we then started in 2004 the first space incubator in Germany. This was at the beginning a poor Bavarian one, and later on it became the Business Incubation Center of the European Space Agency, ERATOSTHENES in Bavaria. As you can see, we are focused on space entrepreneurship, and we run different kind of programs on behalf of different stakeholders. So we are the leading initiator for innovation competitions, innovation networks, to launch the commercialization of the Galileo satellite navigation systems, or Earth observation, like the Copernicus program. So we created networks to motivate people from professionals from industries, but also from research and universities to come up with ideas, application ideas, and to promote these ideas and to help them to make the first step in the commercialization. This is very often, or was very often, a startup company which was created. So we built up these kind of networks on behalf of the European Space Agency, the German Aerospace Center, DLR, or we work for the European Commission and EUSPA in Prague. And on top of this, we also managed incubation and acceleration programs on behalf of the same stakeholders. And the ESA Business Incubation Center was one of these activities. Next to this, we also run the first Copernicus accelerator, where we brought together 250 startup teams with mentors and experts from research and industry to help them to improve the business models and to help them also to get access to Earth observation data, which was not so easy and at the time of 2015, 2016. In the meantime, there is a Copernicus data hub, which makes it much easier to get access to this kind of information. And last but not least, we offer our services also to ministries and governments as a kind of policy advisory, and to support also bigger events like the European Space Week, where we brought together the companies and stakeholders from all these networks. Where's the mouse? This year, we celebrate the 20 years of the ESA Business Incubation Center Network. We organized an event in Munich on behalf of the European Space Agency to show the network and to also show how this Business Incubation Center Network was initiated and who was involved. And we created a video, and I want to show you. So as you can see, it's the right time for the space big here in Cyprus, and to be part of a huge community in the meantime. And the ESA big is a backbone in Europe for space entrepreneurship. And I believe when we have a look also in the direction of defense and security, many of these scale-ups already using their application and technologies in also this direction. And these are new opportunities, not only for the big program in total, but also for the startups and also for the investors, by the way. And yeah, I want to give you, or I want to show you what happened in Germany and how we built up the ESA big program here. At the moment, we run this program at 13 locations. So what does it mean, locations? We set up office spaces like in Oberpfaffenhofen, where we work together closely with stakeholders like the German Aerospace Center, DLR, or the Fraunhofer Society, or also Airbus. And the basic idea here of this concept is to involve these partners to give support to the startup companies, technical support, but also to offer opportunities to work together in public funded programs and to benefit from each other. And this is the basic concept for all the big locations in Europe. As you can see, we supported more than 500 companies so far in the last exactly 20 years. And there are two prime contractors in Germany. So this is AZO and CESA, which manages program on behalf of the European Space Agency. And on top of this, we work together with additional partners in the different federal states, which represent ecosystems and which helps to create a deal pipeline for us, for the big program, which is needed to always select the best startup companies in different directions. If we have a closer look to the Bavarian program, we supported more than 250 startup companies now, creating more than 5,000 jobs with an annual turnover in the meantime of around about 440 million euro. And these companies raised around about 3.3 billion euro venture capital in recent years. As you can see, we have our own regional ecosystem, which is connected, as I already said, to research centers like DLR or Fraunhofer, and universities like the University of Armed Forces, and companies like Airbus, Ariane Group, or other large system integrators. Yeah, this slide shows or gives an overview about the whole portfolio. It's not a matrix or classical matrix, but it describes how the new space economy is positioned in the space up and downstream sector. So in the upstream sector, this is relatively new. We see more and more companies which want to develop hardware and software for the space industry, for the space transportation sector, launchers, capsules, or other vehicles, space vehicle, or building or sending CubeSats into the orbit, or to set up satellite constellations, or to offer in-orbit services, experiments on the International Space Station, ISS, or also to think about the space exploration market, so the market beyond the in-orbit economy, means to develop rover or robot technologies for Moon and Mars exploration missions. So this is, I would say, the core new space market. And as I said, more and more companies are active in this domain. Traditionally, the program started with the transfer from research results from space to the non-space industry. This was the first element of the entrepreneurship initiative, followed by the use of satellite data. So with the upcoming Galileo and Copernicus satellite systems, more and more startups used these data in an intelligent way for commercial markets, for agriculture applications, for the aviation industry, for the finance or health sector. So there are many startups and scale-ups which make use of these data using AI technologies or something else to commercialize it in different markets and niches. And now we have, I would say, a new wave of companies from outside the space industry offering deep technologies. So AI is a deep technology being used in Earth observation applications, but also in the future is being used in launchers and satellites or intelligent satellites. It's being used as AI agents in commercial connectivity solutions to improve the bandwidth of satellite communication systems and to connect satellite communication networks with terrestrial networks in an intelligent way. So we see more and more startup companies coming from out of the space industry and seeking for business opportunities in the space industry. Yeah, this is a setup of the new program. You always have to advance what we are doing. There are 3 building blocks. First of all, the so-called pre-incubation program, followed by the incubation and the post-incubation program. The pre-incubation program means that we support early stage business ideas. So startups startup teams which are coming from universities or other public-private networks to help them to develop the business model and to come up with the first business plan, which they can use to apply then for the ESA big program. And as you can see, there are already growth opportunities at this stage. For example, to use the so-called EXIST program. This is a specific funding program for researchers to give them the opportunity to already start or to work on their startup idea while they are still working at the university. So this really makes sense. And then these teams very often make use of acceleration programs at the universities, or they will come to us then and to present the business plan and get access to our incubator. And this incubator, we have a very strong evaluation process. So in the meantime, in Bavaria alone, there are around about 50 to 60 applications, which we have to evaluate. We have an expert team who is responsible for this evaluation. And then finally, we select 20 of them to be part of this 2 years incubation program. Within this 2 years incubation program, we not only offer business consulting services or coaching or traditional training services, but also give access to technical expertise. As I already mentioned, the technical partners in this program, like the German Aerospace Center DLR, are highly relevant to help the startups to overcome technical problems. This means that researchers offer their expertise and to work on algorithms or to offer laboratories to test hardware and to demonstrate these products. So this is part of this 2 years incubation program. And at the end, the companies always can present an upgraded business plan or business model, but also can present a minimum prototype or product which they then bring onto the market. Also, during this phase, the startups can make use of other funding opportunities being offered on a regional or a federal state basis, or German-wide programs or public programs to support research and development. After 2 years, the startups leave the program, but we are still in contact with them. We run a program called Booster, where we identify either follow-up or follow-on programs, which are related to the business model and the applications of the startups, and we help them to get access to these additional funding opportunities. We support the proposal development or to help to build consortia. So that means that either offer the opportunity to also further develop the applications and also to make them ready for pure space applications. Here we also offer our so-called pre-fundraising program, means that we put the head of an investor or have the head of an investor and try to analyze the business model and to improve the business model and to come up with so-called valuation report. So what is the value of a company? Help in the pitch decks and offer the connection to our investor and business angel network, and to help the companies to get access to the first fundraising opportunity. Yeah, this was really successful in the last 10 years. And as you can see here, this overview shows the investments over a period of 10 years. So 3.03 billion euros during the last 10 years. As you can see, there is a little hockey stick or a huge hockey stick in 2020. And the reason for this is that at this time, the first pure space startups started their raising of investments. And as you can imagine, the development, the testing, demonstration of space hardware not only takes longer, but needs also much more investment. And this is the reason why we have a huge amount of investments until 2020. And since that time, there's an average yearly investment of, I would say, around about 450 million euro in these new type of companies. And we count 200 investment rounds with 624 single investments. In the meantime, there are 8 to 10 investors per investment round for investments over 100 million. So this is in the meantime the trend, but this is more or less focused on a certain number of companies. So in the meantime, I would say in Bavaria, out of these 250 companies, around about 80 got investment between 1 to 5 million, 5 to 20 million, and then beyond 20 million, and a few of these companies more than 100 million. Yeah, last year, this is a little bit the statistics. This is the statistics of the last year investments. And as you can see, there's investments of around about 431 million euro, mainly in the Again, the coffee.
There's a problem with the screen. The screen is.
So I have to speak more lightly.
No.
So this slide shows the investments in 2024, sorry. And as you can see, there are different categories with a higher investment volume, like urban air mobility and space transportation and satellite systems. But next to this, as I said, technology transfer from space to non-space, the robotics industry, but also medical technologies. We see some very interesting business models in startup companies. And next to this, companies also develop applications for climate and environment, also a topic for investments, and the same for manufacturing and digitalization. So using AI in production processes is also something where we see a high interest of investors. Yeah, these are some investment highlights. I want to figure out some of them. Quantum Systems is a drone manufacturer, one of the leading ones. In the meantime, delivering many drones to the Ukraine. And they raised huge amount of capital to develop their marketing and sales in the civil sector, but also in the defense sector. One of the fastest growing companies is the exploration company. They developed this capsule technology for micro-G experiments, and they also got a bigger funding round in 2024 of about 150 million euro. And the ESA Aerospace, a launcher company, which raised also a huge amount of money to develop their strategy and to start the first launch in March this year. And Aurora Technologies is a company in the Earth observation sector. They build up a satellite constellation for wildfire monitoring. And I believe that they also got a first contract now from the Greek government for fire monitoring of what I see there, the Greek land surface. And yeah, it's very interesting to see that these kind of business models now will be financed by venture capital. I remember that there was a mission of the German Aerospace Center DLR. They also sent a CubeSat, I believe the name was Bird, into the orbit to monitor fire. And so very often, many of these technologies are already being developed 10, 15 years before, and but there was no commercial drive to make a business out of it. So I believe this is also opportunity here for Cyprus to speed up the process of bringing space research results to the industry and to make use of the space big as a transformation mechanism to support startups and to speed up the development of product and new services. Yeah, as I mentioned, the exploration company, they started with this NIX capsule to send this capsule into orbit for 30 minutes to offer micro-G experiments, not only for research, but also for industry. So this was the starting point. And now they got a contract from ESA, 25 million contract, to come up with a design study for an ISS cargo demonstration. So this is the next phase of the evolution of this capsule technologies, and there are also plans for the moon. So very envisioned strategy, and I've never seen such a quick development of a company from a business plan, business idea to a first prototype, and then to and really to send this capsule also to into the orbit and to offer the service like this micro-G experiment, which is an opportunity also for the European market. And last but not least, ESA Aerospace, which started their first rocket, I believe in March this year, into orbit from Norway. This was the first launch of a small satellite launcher in Europe since, I don't know, 1945, I would say. And this is, this is an alternative on add-on to the already existing Ariane and Vega launcher, with a focus on CubeSats or small satellites. I believe this is very important for Europe to have such kind of capabilities, because, as you know, there is a huge growth of the satellite market in the coming years. A lot of CubeSat and small satellite missions are being launched, and for this, Europe also needs additional capabilities. And in Germany, we already have 3 launcher companies next to ESA Aerospace. This is the Rocket Factory in Augsburg, and the High Impulse. So there are 3 launcher companies, and I believe in Europe there's a total of 12 launcher companies. So a huge competition, but also huge opportunities to make us much more resilient and to help the European space industry to fulfill their strategy to build up own constellations which rely on European satellites and European sovereignty. So this was announced. And it took 6 years from the application to the ESA big program to the launch of this rocket. And I believe around about 450 million euro of investments.
It was successful.
This, successful means it was launched for 30 seconds.
Okay.
So the next step must be really to reach the orbit. Yeah. So next to this, so the ESA Big is our core program in Germany and also in Bavaria. It's also the core program of AZO. But around this, I already mentioned that we also run other programs which helps scale-ups to get access to the space industry. And one of these programs is Next Stage to Space, which we manage on behalf of the European Space Agency. There will be now a follow-up program on this. And the main goal is here that large space system integrators like Ariane Group, Airbus, OHB, and so on, define their needs, innovation needs. So to overcome technical problems in the manufacturing of components, satellite systems, or launchers. And in this program, we are seeking for innovations which comes from outside the space industry, and to offer a financial program to support the integration of these new technologies into the space systems. Means for the innovator that this is being financed by 100%. Means that ESA will give 50% and the large system integrator the other 50%, but for the innovator, it's completely financed to 100%. In this pilot, there were around 6 topics being defined by the large system integrators, and we identified 150 companies in Germany, which could potentially offer a solution. And then these companies applied. We got 50 proposals from SMEs and startups, and finally we selected 7 projects with a runtime of 12 months. And after the 12 months, the partners presented the hard and software solution. So this, the main advantage here is to quickly, with reduced administrative restrictions, it is possible to speed up the transfer from technologies from outside the space industry to the space industry. And this helps to improve or to scale up the supplier network for the space industry, and to help new players to jump over the barriers and to offer the services to the space industry. So this is a new approach of the European Space Agency, and as I said, we run this program in Germany, and I could believe that this is also an approach for the whole of Europe to open the space industry to the non-space industry and to the innovators which exist in other industries. For the NIX capsule, we organized the acquisition of new experiments. So we organized an open call on behalf of ESA, where we got 30 in-orbit experiments which were presented, and then finally 2 of them were granted by the exploration company in ESA. And there was a first mission at the end of last year, I believe. And 2 experiments, so one of them was from the University of Southampton, was being presented. And so this is a new approach to help the space industry to acquire new technology needs or experiments from other industries or from universities, and to offer a program which is making use of this capsule technology to run these experiments in the micro-G environment. In parallel, we also organize matchmaking events on behalf of the Cassini program. This was a program over a period of 2 years with 21 events, more than 1,000 participants. And the main idea was to connect the space startups, the scale-ups, with investors in stakeholders from different industries, and to help the startups to raise venture capital or to get access to prime industry in different market segments. And last but not least, internationalization. So the question how to help the space economy, the new space economy, to get access to markets outside Europe. I mean, space is a global market, and also for the downstream sector, especially for the Copernicus program. And here the focus was on the commercialization of Earth observation solution providers, and to help them to get access to other markets, to other stakeholders, to other research centers and industrial players all over the world. We offered a matchmaking platform. We acquired 200 European space companies, and I believe around about 100 non-European companies. And together with space business experts, we offered coaching services with the main goal to initiate partnership agreements between the European companies and the non-European companies. And this is the result. So every line represents one agreement. And yeah, as we can see, there's enough open space, but it shows that it is possible to bring together partners to start a partnership, which means that a partner in Brazil could help a company from Europe to get access to the local market and vice versa. So it's always a question of how to define a partnership. Yeah, what we learned is that we have to seek for the win-win of such a partnership, not only to think about that you can offer a service and there must be somebody who buy it, but also really to create a win-win. And this was very successful. And based on this, we started a program also for Saudi Arabia. There is a new space program in Saudi Arabia, and there was the interest to acquire worldwide Earth observation service providers to work together with local ministries and governments. That is, for example, the Saudi Green Initiative. They want to plant 10 million trees and palm trees every year, and they were seeking for solutions to monitor this process. Yeah, up 42 at this time was not part of it, but you're right. This is now the platform for Saudi Arabia to give access to service providers. And yeah, the NEO Space Group was part of it. And this was really successful. There were around about 270 Earth observation solution providers from all over the world, presented 800 applications to different topics. So palm tree monitoring, pest disease, road monitoring, infrastructure monitoring. So these are all the hot topics in Saudi Arabia. And they want to build up a Earth observation service provider portfolio based on UP 42 to offer these services. And I could imagine that this is also something for Cyprus. If you want to strengthen quickly your space big, to work together with these players from all over the world and to bring them to Cyprus. This was also a must for Saudi Arabia, that these companies, when they get a contract, open a subsidiary in Saudi to offer the services in the country. Yeah, I come to the end of my presentation. Newspace is an emerging market. It's a big chance for every government or regional economical development agency to build up something new, to build up high tech, to create jobs. And space is an opportunity not only for civil society or for businesses, but also highly relevant for the defense and security sector. And again, congratulations to Cyprus to build up your own space big here. Thank you.
Are we able to go members? We have the members to take a couple of this here for the association. And can you tell us any new opportunities or new opportunities that we might be seeking to as being the member of this?
So if you want to be in big member or in ESA big? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This is was a way also for many other countries like Poland or the Estland and Lithuania. They started to with the ESA associated membership, and then quickly they created their own ESA BIC. So the process is always the same. There is an ESA open tender, and then it is possible that you apply as Cyprus as a management team on this call to present your application. What also means that you have to co-finance these activities. So, for example, the incentives which are being given to the startup companies, 50% of the incentives are being paid by ESA, European Space Agency. So this is a concept in Germany, and 50% of this incentives comes from the regional local government. So I believe that you are with the space bit, you are well prepared to come up at the right moment with your proposal. But first of all, you need a tender. ESA tender for which you can apply. This is a normal process. But yeah, as you have seen, there are the same. That was the same strategy in the Czech Republic. I remember, I believe in 2009, 2010, I believe they started also the process as an ESA associated member, and then very quickly they also started the first ESA BIC in the Czech Republic. And I believe in the meantime there are also, I don't know, is a portfolio of ESA related startup companies which are successful, which are also successful apply for other ESA programs. And then there is another program called ESA PhilAb. This is relatively new. So the ESA PhilAb is something, I would say it's more or less to support the technology transfer from universities or research centers to the BIC. So it's in between. So to help researchers to commercialize their business applications. This is a dedicated program called ESA PhilAb, and this is another opportunity also for Cyprus. I mean, the PhilAb is always focused on a topic. For example, the PhilAb in Frascati, at the ESA location at Frascati, is focused on Earth observation, the Copernicus program. But there are other PhilAbs in Austria and in Switzerland with a different focus. So ESA is seeking for partners also for this PhilAb, where we then see a consortium consisting of universities, research centers, and I would say a management company for the commercialization.
So you mentioned that you support the import of other technologies for space industry, but what about the opposite? You support exporting technologies from space industry to other.
Yeah, this was, as I mentioned, this was the initial idea of ESA at the beginning, 20 years ago, and also the idea of the German Aerospace Center, DLR, they wanted to commercialize their research results from space to other industries. And for this, they came up with a budget, internal budget to co-finance these activities. At DLR, for example, the strategy was that the DLR is financing its own activities. And for example, the small and medium-sized industry or the commercial company has to finance their own activities. And then they have an agreement or a license agreement so that the research institutes also benefit from the business success of the company. But they set up so-called transfer projects, which are really financed on top of the activities of the research institute. Because very often, mainly, researchers have no time for these activities. They are involved in research-related programs. So you need an additional budget that they can spend time on such kind of transfer project. And this was initiated at DLR. At ESA, it's different, I would say. ESA is not working in this way, I would say. But this is what DLR, for example, is doing to commercialize their own research results from the different disciplines.
Couple questions.
A couple.
What kind of thing apart from the observation, do you see any particular training needs?
So you mean the use of technologies in the space industry, or
Yes.
yeah? Yeah.
Say, moon dance is something that's very
Yeah, so we run this, or we are part of the Newspace Masters, which is a program of the German Aerospace Center to exactly identify such new technologies. And I was at the award ceremony in Berlin last week. So let me try to remember what are the hot topics of this event. First of all, there was a technology for a wireless transformation of energy over 1.5 meters. So this could be relevant for rovers to reload rovers on the Mars and the Moon. By the way, this was the winner of the award. And they also won the award of the Mercedes-Benz. So Mercedes-Benz said, oh, this is a perfect technology also for recharging our cars. And so the dual use in this case was the most important selection or evaluation criteria, that you can use it in the automotive industry, but you can use this for such kind of rover applications on the moon. The second winner was cooling technologies for batteries, electric batteries. So this is the biggest problem, the heat during charging. And they came up with a solution how to cool the batteries in an efficient way. There was another one, a radar technology, radar simulation technology, I would say, from the University of Fürth-Erlangen. This is north of Nuremberg. And they also started, he's a big company. and they commercialize a radar simulation environment, which makes it possible to, for example, imagine an automotive driving, or during automotive driving, the radar system has to detect objects on the ground. Yeah? This could be a dog, or a person walking over the street. And what could happen is that the radar sensor is not 100% detecting the person or the cat or the dog. Yeah? So it depends on the size and the movement of the object. And if you put this radar simulation in the loop, you can learn. You can learn from the real application and what could happen, and then you can improve the digital model of this radar system. So, and this improves the development of future radar systems in the automotive industry, but also for other applications. And this was also something very impressive. And this could also have an impact on the space industry, for example, for docking maneuvers. If you want to use, or you have to use radar systems also for docking maneuvers of such kind of capsules to the ISS, or other docking maneuvers where you need such kind of radar antennas. So yeah, these are only 3 examples, but there are many more. I can talk about using AI also for more intelligent, connected satellite communication networks. So using AI agents in the nodes of these networks without having a cloud infrastructure. So the intelligence is in the network. And that means that such kind of communication networks are intelligent, they offer higher bandwidth, and they are much more flexible. So they're always, the nodes are always looking for the best communication and connectivity opportunities. And if you combine this, for example, with laser technologies in space or ground to space, then you can build up ad hoc networks, intelligent ad hoc networks, which is highly relevant also for defense and security sector. So that means that what we now see is that there are new deep technologies which can be integrated in systems or which connects already existing systems. And yeah, and this very often rely on professionals from industries, but also scientists from universities. So both have to come together and bring in the latest expertise. Well, without these technical expertise, no solutions, no business case. And this is, I believe, this is the big chance that through the excellence of the universities and the lecturers and the scientists, the professors, there is a big opportunity for upcoming new teams with high relevance for these kind of industries and with a high potential for investments or interest of investors.
Very interesting. You mentioned also all the 3 types of data, like things based on the main integration and then the program. So what are how the funnel looks like? So how many companies are coming to the first stage and then we're sending to the third? What is the trend usually that following this, or how many companies follow that regulatory incubation? Because for our case, we have to integrate that, but it would make sense at a point to look at how to prepare the mindset, the team, and the actual preparation, the idea. We got to integrate.
So these pre-incubation mainly takes place in the universities. So many universities, or all universities in Germany, they run their own entrepreneurship program. So how to define the idea, how to define the business model, how to build up the team, and so all the basics. So this is in the meantime the main deal pipeline also. Yeah. For example, we have this cooperation with the University of Armed Forces. So they run one of our big programs. And the reason was that it's a University of Armed Forces, but it's possible for everybody to study there. But it's more focused on defense and security related startups. And they are interested not only to support their own startups from the university, but also to acquire additional startups, which fits very well to the R&D programs. So this was the interest, and to build up on the campus an own big center with specific companies in the defense and security related industries. To build up a cluster of a portfolio of companies which are really focused on defense and security markets, which means that there's a shift from other universities to the University of Armed Forces, or from DRR research institutes to this university, because they have bigger budgets and they have a strong relationship to the German army. And this, I have to say that this is a more specific big, which is related to these industries. Coming back to your question, the question was about. Yeah, exactly. So the one funnel are the universities, like the Technical University of Munich or the University of Armed Forces, and also other smaller and bigger universities in Munich. They all send their teams with a business plan, and they apply to the big program because they see a business in space. And on the other side, there are professionals from industries, and very often we meet these people at space events or non-space events or startup events in Munich. So Munich is full of startup events. So it's easy going to meet these people and then to talk to them and to find out if their product or application has a relation to space. And so I would say in the meantime, 60% of all the startups we meet at these events, and we talk to them and see opportunities of their application for the space market. If you think about activities at the universities in the space domain, then you also can think about are there any other startup companies with their solutions, software solutions, which can be used for your research activities, for example. So this is the shift you have to, the transformational shift you have to support as a management team of a big that you are seeking, like I don't know, like a hunter for such kind of startup companies, and to bring them on board. It's an active process, not to wait and to open the door and hey, is somebody here? Really to make promotion and to talk to the people. I would say this is how to motivate people at startup teams to come to this program.
Trying to open your space in some way. So there is a push.
Exactly. If somebody has a solution for the automotive industry, then perhaps this solution can be also used in the rover projects of ESA. Yeah. So if you offering I don't know a cooling technology for battery, and this is highly relevant also for activities in the space industry, to use it inside satellites or in the space station. So there's always a chance to have a look at what kind of opportunity exists with your existing products or solutions to create an impact in the space industry. But this has to be explained. Has to be explained, and to to give you an example of this. Yeah, so if you have a look to simulations, there was some startup company who simulated Earth observation data in a time series. Yeah. So, and then they said, we are missing data. So we are using ground-based information. We are using satellite-based information, but we want to come up with a map over the whole city to measure, for example, the pollution. But we only have the Earth observation data and some measuring points on the ground. And then they came up with an algorithm to fill the gaps. So, and then they were seeking for partners to improve these algorithms. And then I connected them to the German remote sensing center. And this was the starting point for a cooperation. And now they develop the product, and they hope that they can offer these services to cities, smart cities in Europe, to come up with maps and with time series of certain kind of environmental related indices, yeah.
So for this incubation phase, would you provide any support from the, so for example, and all this incubation, so it could be a program like a master degree or a part of a degree, I guess. But during this process, if they want to explore the space connection, will you have a grant, or will you have some hours that your networks will be, I don't know, qualified criteria? How do you handle this? Because I guess this is the important stage to have ready, or some good ideas, or some good solutions to go to the development phase.
Yeah, so you have to apply with a business plan, and the business plan looks always the same in any of these 100 centers. So the business plan has always the same structure. We offer the same services, and the incentives of about 60,000 euro per startup are the same all over Europe. But I believe in Switzerland it's higher. Yeah, but if you start your business in Spain or in Poland or in Germany, you always get the same amount of 60,000 euro. It's not a huge amount, but it helps to develop the first prototype and to start your marketing activities. But yeah, if you are talking, I mean, at the end of the big as such is already proof of concept. So if you apply and you will be successful and you are being selected, then you put the ESA big brand on your website. And this is already a message to your potential investors, to potential customers. You can say, I'm part of this program. I was selected, and during the incubation phase, I've been monitored, not controlled. I've been monitored. I have to present what I've done, and this is a kind of quality stamp. So if you finish the program at the end of the after 2 years or 12 months or 16 months, then this is a quality stamp for your company, and helps you to get access to investors or industrial players.
meet all full individuality case for the startup?
To apply for this, I would say, yeah, first of all, these quality stamp, first of all, then the network. So to get in touch with other startup companies and this. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this could be a brilliant new idea, and TR level is one. But it could be also higher. But I have to say that we take over risk. We are not investors. So we take over risk. We believe on the team, we believe on the technology, and we believe on the market. And it's up to us to make them successful. And the rate is 80%. So after 20 years, more than 80% of the startup companies which applied for this program in Bavaria survived. And they survived for sure, because first of all, we have this selection, all the best get into the program. And then we really connect them to research, to ESA, to investors. And this strengthens their business and also their product development. And at the end of the incubation phase, I mean, if they reach GI level 6, 7, or 8, it's fine. Yeah, it's not a must that they reach 10. It's not a must. But to get this first prototype very fast is important to get in touch with potential customers on the market, or to get access to investors. And through this technical partners in the program, we really can help them to overcome specific technical problems. I believe this is very important.
The feedback that you mentioned, this is an open code that everybody can apply. Legally, it's or you must be associated member of this.
So this FELAB was initiated by ESA in Frascati. So the first FELAB was in ESA FELAB. And then they said, okay, we already run this fantastic ESA big network. Now we also want to run an ESA FELAB network, which is a step further, which connects the universities from different disciplines to the space industry, which is clever. Yeah? Think about there are so many different universities and institutes which open up opportunities to work together with the space industry. But through the FELAB, they want to bring them together and to work on a certain topic. And this is co-financed by ESA, not to 100%. They pay for the management. And I don't know, they also pay, hopefully, for these kind of R&D related technology transfer projects. I would imagine this is like, I explained the DLR approach, that you give a budget to an institute, which is working together with an industrial partner to commercialize a research result from the university. So to make a product out of it. Yeah, this is more or less an open call for a country. So they came up with an open call for Germany. And then it was possible to come up with an idea paper. So there were 2, 3, 4 idea papers where you describe how your FELAB looks like, what is the topic, who are the partners, and what is the methodology or the approach. And then ESA selected 2 of them and came up with the tender. So, and these 2 consortia then applied for this tender, and then they come up with a either specific proposal with all the financials. The most important thing is that such kind of field labs need a co-investment of the ministry, the local ministry. Without this co-investment, it is not possible. And the other budget comes from ESA, which is more or less also a national budget. No? So in the ESA program, Germany give a budget to, I don't know what part of the program it is, but reserved a budget, and based on this budget, there is this open call where consortia then can apply. Yeah, this is exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And the call of ESA was open. Yeah. So when we came up with this idea paper, then we came up with the idea how our field lab would look like. But the problem now in this first tender was really to set up the co-investment. So this was a problem in the first open tender in Germany, but I believe there will be a second one. And then we are hopefully much better prepared. So we need really this local co-financing from the ministry. And but as you know, there are different funding mechanisms. For ESA, you have a 3-year project or so. You will get a pre-financing, and then everything is clear. The financing of a ministry is always on a yearly basis. And you have others who have to say, yes, you will get the money also for the second and the third year. So this is always the problem of bringing together two financial concepts.
Will be your program like Tila, because you can find many companies that they have different concepts. Then about the research institute, compound different solutions, different types. So if you do like an use the much maybe of needs, because maybe in science we don't have too many needs, but we have too many research and so researchers that they are dealing with the space industry. We don't really with the industry, but maybe we can offer solutions for industry. So I was wondering if it's something that we are umbrella maybe together needs and solutions from everywhere.
Yeah, perhaps these innovation competitions, I mentioned this Saudi Space Up Challenge, could be a brilliant approach. So you collect all the needs from public stakeholders, road authorities, infrastructure, energy companies, also all these institution stakeholders who are responsible for the infrastructure here in Cyprus, and let them create a challenge how to use Earth observation, satellite navigation, or other satellite-based technologies for monitoring their infrastructures, or to improve the infrastructures, or to offer the services. And in the Saudi Space Up Challenge, they really described we need a dashboard. We need a dashboard where you can see all the pine trees which are being planted in Saudi Arabia during the last 12 months. And we want to know the health status of any of these pine trees. So we need, the open tender is, we need solution providers from all over the world who can fulfill these requirements and offer a service which we can easily integrate in our already existing digital systems. So it's really solution oriented. And then they came up with a not a prize money, but with a contract volume of $28 million. And they said, okay, we are seeking for solution providers, and this is the volume of contacts we want to give to these solution providers over the period of 2, 3, 4 years. And then there is the opportunity to be the service provider for Saudi Arabia in this domain. And perhaps this could be also a way to interest companies, solution providers from outside Cyprus to come to Cyprus to set up a subsidiary here, and not only to work together with these public institutions, but also to work together with universities and research centers to think about how to commercialize other solutions. And I believe this is like a transmission process. Yeah? You start with something.
But how it's
Yeah, this is.
I was wondering if something about and check or we have to register the company that is
We can do explain. Anyway, you did like a month ago or so, and we can see announcements on when they scale up the platform.
Yeah. So they acquired a UP42. This was a 100% Airbus daughter located in Berlin, and this was the Earth observation platform of Airbus.
How did you get that? How did they get the images, for example? They have a daily, they have their own system, they have their own satellite. So how do they solve this?
Yeah, so Airbus has own satellite, I believe also military satellites, high resolution satellites. But I learned from a colleague of mine who founded a company, Claudio, 15 years ago, and he signed contracts with all the satellite providers, operators, signed contracts to get access to different kind of data. And if you have a look to the TIS systems, ESA data, the Copernicus Data Hub, I learned that they started a dedicated African version of the Copernicus Data Hub called Diana. And then I asked, hey, what is the reason for this? What are the specific functions or features of this version? And then they said, yeah, in Africa, many people only use mobile phones, so they have no computers. They're running around with mobile phones. And if we want to offer Earth observation or services based on the Copernicus data, then we have to reduce the data volume of these data sets and to make them available for such kind of mobile applications. So this is the African version of the Diana platform. And I believe it's very interesting to understand that there are dedicated company or continent-related versions which fulfill the specific requirements of the industry or the economic, the public sector there. I mean, to have a cooperation with, for example, T-Systems, GeoWill, and here in Cyprus to set up a Copernicus data hub could be an opportunity for this region. I don't know. And then to acquire companies who get access to this dedicated data and offer the services to public and industrial stakeholders here in Cyprus and perhaps also in the region. I mean, this could be a strategy, and for me, it was clear that what the Saudis did makes absolutely sense. And now they invited now the 20 top companies out of this challenge to Saudi Arabia in an event where they officially sign the contracts. So with press but before the companies have to make sure that they set up a subsidiary in Riyadh or Jeddah. Yeah, this is this was not clear. This was not clear at the beginning, I must say, but now it's clear that you have to set up a company there, and you also have to employ Saudi citizens in the company. You can make the same.
But in touch with them, they have their new into these organizations.
Yeah, it's
And I mean, set up it's with a specific person. Never choose
yeah. I mean, you can connect it to the space big. If you say, hey, we have this innovation call on specific topics with where specific stakeholders here in Cyprus have the opportunity to address their own topic. So this must be a website with a platform where you can apply, where everybody can apply. And then you also connect it to the space big to offer the space big specific services to help the companies to establish their business here and to develop their services and to be successful in the region. And on top of this, I mean, the Phi Lab is additional element where you connect your universities and your research centers to the business world.
I remember years ago, this it had a tent that I was and they needed there was something to do with the nectar region.
Yeah.
And they asked us, like Muslims, if you're not Muslim, you can't sign it.
Yes.
Because so the always,
I mean, all these activities, they have an impact, or a clear mission. Sometimes the runtime of these programs is limited because they are financed by the public side, but sometimes these programs also are sustainable over a longer period of time. So the is big with the 20 years, and also the Galileo Masters. I started the Galileo Masters, also satellite navigation services, in 2004, and the last Masters was in 2020. So 16 years, always promoting satellite navigation application ideas. And if you have a look to the ESA big startup catalog, there are around about 450 Copernicus-related startups. Many of them came out of the Copernicus Masters, and I believe there are around about 100 satellite related or satellite navigation related startups which came out of the Galileo Master. So this promotion of a topic is very important to build up an economy, to motivate people. Earth observation is a business in different niches. And if you also build this platform for the demand side, then you can show there is a concrete interest and there are stakeholders who really want to give a contract. And you see that I believe you always have to go also outside to generate a benefit from the inside. Yeah. So if you create it from Cyprus, if you are creating it, you are located here, you always create an impact for Cyprus. Yeah. This is my. But you have to, yeah, you need people here who love it to play this European network game, to be part of all these events, to connect to people, to interest companies to come to Cyprus. So really to interact like an economy developer in the name of Cyprus, and to grab opportunities to
But this is the possibility. Use people from Cyprus to either come to Cyprus to develop or develop the business.
yeah, but I was really surprised yesterday. I came by taxi to Limassol, and first of all, it was green. Left and when you are on the highway, there are a lot of trees and a wonderful landscape. And yeah, because if you're Greek, there are, or in Albania, I was in Albania, there are no trees anymore. Yeah, it's desert. Yeah, so. And the second impressive thing was that the skyline of Limassol, yeah, a lot of new buildings, yeah. So real estate, exactly, and I would say in 5 years, then it looks a little bit like, I don't know, not Monaco, but if you, yeah, or like Tel Aviv. You remember Tel Aviv also has a lot of new apartment buildings. They look a little bit the same. Yeah? So wonderful. I believe that this is interesting to see, and I believe not so many people knows how wonderful it is here. And there's also an argument to come to Cyprus. So. Next to the climate, but I only have seen Cyprus from the highway. Yeah. Okay.
That's not it. But
It's important to participate. Center, with
Yeah, so there are some major events you have to take part. Perhaps next year the EAC is back in Europe. Is now in Sydney, the EAC conference.
yeah.
So, and the EAC now in the meantime is really an event where you see all Newspace startups, but also the countries, European countries, but also countries out of Europe present their startups in a common booth. Yeah, so Sweden shows all the Newspace companies. And offer the opportunity to participate. So this is the #1 event. Then I would say from the policy side, this is the European Space Policy event in January, February in Brussels. This is a must as well. And then there was last week the Nova World Space Summit in Paris. So this is more really business driven. Yeah. And then there are, I would say trade shows like the Space Tech Expo in Bremen in November. It's also good. And then you have domain-related events like the Living Planet Symposium. This was in Vienna. And yeah.
And also,
yeah. So to participate there as Cyprus as with a big space with ERATOSTHENES, it's like Gipuzkoa, Basque region. It took some time. So to participate, to show yourself. And then the question is if you can participate in to organize your own innovation competition. with, yeah, and to work together with partners. I mean, we can help you. We have a huge database of satellite or Earth observation providers. The Cassini?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cassini is more related to, yeah, there is an accelerator, but I believe this doesn't help yourself. There's a matchmaking. Yeah, you can ask to organize a matchmaking event in Cyprus on behalf of the Cassini program.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is something what you can do. Yeah, then there are Cassini prizes, but these are not, I mean, the Cassini prizes have the same function to motivate early stage ideas and to bring them on stage, to hand over a trophy, and to motivate the people to start the business. But this takes place in Prague. So you have to bring the people to Cyprus. So you need perhaps not a Cyprus Space Week, but something like this, a Cyprus Space Day, or 2 days with a conference where you hand over the prizes of your competition, to invite the politicians, perhaps also to invite the ESA director, to bring him to Cyprus on stage, because they love it, to press at the end the red button and to announce that Cyprus is now ESA member, or to launch the big program here. So to really make a lot of marketing and have a strategic way to know exactly what you want to achieve after a period of 3 years. So perhaps you organize a space day or a space week with a conference to invite to promote Cyprus, the Cyprus ecosystem, and the opportunities to present the space big program here. So, and to bring this together on a platform and to show it at these events I already mentioned.
For us, it's very important because we are also submitting this proposal. So it's important for us to understand, I mean, some of those we need to market application as a center as well, in order to have an input to the center. So for us, it's important to understand what are the needs of the market, because through the research we can, I mean, do all the processes, in processing steps. But it is important for something in the center to understand what is needed, like the one that we mentioned that for the agriculture, there is investors want to invest money in some application. So it's important for us to understand what the investor would be interested to find, to have the idea and also do all the preliminary steps and prepare and give the solution. So we have it also for the research, designing the research and what I am talking about.
Yeah, I mean, you can screen the ESA big catalog on the ESA big site. There you can find all the 1,800 companies. Yeah. You can have a look to their business idea and the applications and all the domains I just described. You can try to understand who are the customers of these companies now, and what kind of scale-ups exist. And the main question is why companies the scale-up is much quicker than other companies, and they are in the same domain. The reason, for example, could be if a company set up an own satellite constellation like Aurora Tech. This is much more interesting for investors than only a poor company using data for specific application, but they are not the owner of the satellites. So this is much more interesting for investors. The question is, what what is the driver for investors to in the space domain, in the upstream and the downstream domain? You have seen here companies like Quantum Systems. Okay, this is a drone company, but drone companies also rely on satellite communication and navigation. The question of jamming and spoofing, or to answer the question of jamming and spoofing, or to use intelligence software systems, or to combine drone-based information with satellite-based information. So one of the selected companies in Saudi Arabia for road infrastructure is a company who combines both. I have to answer a lot of questions, but if you have a look, perhaps you first of all have to ask your own industry, the marine industry, the energy sector, infrastructure, the public institutions, the shipping industry. I don't know, agriculture is also a topic. So all these stakeholders, or real estate as well. So what are the needs here? And I believe then you will get a lot of feedbacks, a lot of needs. And always the question is, somebody interested to invest in such kind of solutions? When we make this analysis for Saudi Arabia, we realize that Saudi Arabia invests a lot of money in infrastructure projects. Remember this, they now built this cube. So a huge investments every year. And then there was a study of Ernst & Young, where they analyzed the Earth observation market. And one key message was that there is still, the Earth observation market is still, or has still a huge opportunity if you use this information to reduce the costs, the upcoming cost for infrastructure projects. For example, if you find the right way for a highway, so to select the right way for a highway, you can perhaps reduce the cost for a landslide, for example, or the danger of landslide. Yeah. So if you make use of Earth observation data upfront in infrastructure projects, you already can reduce your cost for this. And then we said, okay, if you invest 0.5% of your infrastructure in such kind of services, then all the Earth observation companies from all over the world are here in Saudi Arabia, because then this is still a huge volume of service potential. And I believe this is really interesting, that you don't have to wait. You already can offer these services, and you create an impact for your potential customer. But the customer has to say, hey, okay, if I can reduce the development costs of an infrastructure project by 5%, then this investment makes sense. So we have to turn around the view, because otherwise you have public institutions who will say, oh, I don't want to spend some money for the service, but when I can show them the benefit of such kind of services, they are motivated perhaps to, yeah. So it's I believe also a task of the space people, or could be a task really to acquire these public or private investors to make use of these services. It's not something, I mean, this could also happen without you, but then it takes longer. Yeah? I mean, this is your mission, to create a market, and not only to build a platform where these companies can start and grow, but also to build up a network of stakeholders where the services of the companies can be delivered. This is and this is, by the way, the same you can find in the most successful business incubation centers in Europe, where they all have the same, how to say that, the same strategy. Yeah, you always look to the others and say, oh, what are they doing? Oh, let's implement it also. This makes sense. For example, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, we have a meeting. This takes place 2 times per year between the ESAs, our ESA startups who are developing the products, and with so-called craftsman workshop. Oh, what is the name? Craftsman. High-tech craftsmen. So companies, suppliers to the aerospace industry, little companies who drill, develop or manufacture electronic plants or make mechanical manufacturers, or little ones. There are many little ones which we call high-tech craftsmen. And we bring together 10 of our companies and 10 of these potential suppliers. And they all bring their hardware with them. And then they are sitting to each other, and then we have matchmakings between each of them. And then were talking about how to develop this product and what is the offer from the craftsman side to develop the first prototype. And this was really successful because the local craftsmen are not far away. They have all the equipment and infrastructure needed to help the startups to develop the first prototype. And we'll come back to this question, to bring the product from TRL level 2 to 5. Yeah. And sometimes these suppliers are also available to offer the capability to build a little series of production or products. For example, in space, you always need perhaps 10 devices per year. Yeah. And then perhaps you have a partner on your side to offer the opportunity to produce it, and not to go to China or to somewhere else, to really produce the product or components close to door. I mean, I only want to explain how to involve the already existing industry in this setup. And it's not all digital. Yeah, we see in the space domain, we now see more and more hardware-driven developments. Think about the capsule or the launcher or those CubeSats. This is hardware. Yeah? For sure, it's also software, intelligent software, but it's hardware. And for the hardware, you need specific companies. Yeah, it's as I so it's our task, or was our task, to offer such kind of little programs, because there was a need from the startup side. They asked us, hey, we need suppliers, we need hardware suppliers, we need suppliers of electronic components or for software development. And then we said, okay, let's work together with these. I mean, there's the Craftsman Association in Upper Bavaria. So they only have to look into their contact list and to select the right ones. And it's easygoing then to set up such kind of specific events. This is... You're still online or not? Hundreds of people are listening to us, or not.
If anyone, online participants, wants to ask something, this is the time to do that. So I think we can finish with the right presentation.
Yeah, we can have prayers.
Yeah, we can talk the whole day if you. Yeah. Now we can start a brainstorming session.
Now one observation, not question. We announced this phase with Cyprus, so there is no interest, zero interest at one. What is the problem?
What zero interest?
We announced this phase B,
Yeah,
and the deadline is middle of October.
there's no interest.
There is zero interest.
Yeah, then we have to open this open call. We have to promote it much broader. Yeah, the promotional thing. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, hence I just mentioned it. You have to go to the right events also here in Cyprus. This is what we do. We visit the startup events in Munich and explain the program directly to the founders and to motivate them to participate in the big. Come to the big. Yeah. And for sure, you have to explain if there is a founder with a certain business or product, or what is the benefit for space, because you always need a space relation. But this is number one, to really get in touch directly with potential applicants. Yeah, this is direct contact. And from the marketing side, it must be more specific. So you have to know your target customer. Who are the customer? Who are the potential participants? Perhaps also outside Cyprus. I don't know if this program is also for teams who want to come to Cyprus. So in this you have to communicate. Yeah? Yeah. So question, is it possible for an already existing company in our is a big network, or is it possible for them? So if they are, so then it's clear. Then you normally have to send us the program and the benefits out of it, and then we have to explain, or you have to explain why, for example, big companies from Bavaria have to start up a subsidiary here, if this is the goal.
And what about the demand? 50,000 euros. It's very low. It's not too much attractive for the.
No, I mean, this is enough also for the big program. It's not always, the money is not always the goal. It's part of it for sure, but it's the network and the opportunities and the access to the local industries, but also to public demanders. So if you can describe this and describe the opportunities, then you will get interest from startups and scale-ups from Europe in this domain. But yeah, this has to be communicated. And if you ask me, yeah, for sure, then I can send this over to our portfolio. And you have to let me know what we have to answer, because they will have specific questions. I don't know if there is an RFQ, frequently asked questions, how to set up business in Cyprus, how to do this. Is it quick? Is it easy going? Really? How much does it cost?
Companies and businesses with put them with some motivation schemes on the Cyprus Invest. Actually, there are a lot of financial benefits. I don't know how this appreciation.
Exactly. So what is the highest benefit? I asked the taxi driver yesterday. Yeah, he gave me the answer. Yeah, but this has to be communicated. Yeah? And sometimes, you know, people get a lot of emails, yeah, and then you get no answer. And then they ask you, hey, why you didn't send me an invitation? And then I said, yes, I sent you an invitation, but it was lost. It's getting lost in your spam folder. So this is the first problem, that the spam folder that you didn't pass the spam folder. And so never a startup will never get the information. The founder will never get the information. How to make sure that this doesn't happen? So that means you have to ring them up. You have to identify companies. Yeah.
Then it also to a teacher if they're without so that benefits that you know, especially
The Saudis, they send all the companies to the named it localization. Yeah. So they send all the companies who want to set up the business in Saudi to one entity. And they explained this is a quick process. By the way, it wasn't a quick process, but okay. And they reduced the prices for this localization. So they made an offer. And I believe this also has to be addressed, that there is an institution, or I don't know, somebody who take care that all these administrative things are being solved quickly. Now, I only can tell you that in these innovation competitions, we got a lot of registrations on the platform and then I saw that people didn't finalize their application. And then we said, okay, we have to ring them up. Sometimes we rang up 100, 150, 200 registered applicants with 2 people, 2 weeks. And then we heard, oh, sorry for that, I forgot it, but I will do it. Yeah. And that means on the last mile, the last 24 hours, the most of the people applied. And this also can happen here. You have 0 applicants, and suddenly in the last 24 hours, you have 5 or 10, I don't know. But let us pray. But yeah, this is always a problem. If you don't know if there are interests, then you have to, you have to push it. Yeah, you have to make it clear for yourself. Means you have to ring up potential participants. Do you have a list of teams or no?
We have some intern we have, but not materials. The way we have it is that they apply, they upload the document, so we don't see the process. But we keep an eye, close eye, while we work out the documents up to the point where it's some guidelines.
I think the question was if people could be interested.
But I make an offer to you. You send me, we'll send out a newsletter next week. We have regular newsletters to around about 20,000 space-related stakeholders in Europe and also beyond. So if you can send me the link, or I don't know, press release, a picture, attractive picture.
And they said,
yeah.
I use the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A message. Yeah. I will, then we will send it out next week. When is the deadline? The deadline is. Oh.
So just to close the
What's up?